For real. Say the TV stand for tracks and vocals. You know this is easier than 1, 2, 3. You are now tuned in to Just Swagg TV. Just Swagg TV.
What's your name?
My real name or Instagram?
Whichever one you want to give.
B. Allison. Brittany Allison.
Okay. What's your entertainment name?
Miss PeachRose.
Okay. Why do they call you Miss PeachRose?
Well, the Miss is basically because I'm sort of like the mom, oftentimes. PeachRose is, typical Georgia peach. Supple, soft, gentle, but at the same time, I'm resilient and tough like a rose.
Okay. Where you from?
From Atlanta, between Kirkwood and Bowen Homes.
Okay. What was that like growing up?
Honestly, it was rough, but at the same time, when you're a child and you're going through those situations, my mom made it very fun for us. That we had our struggles, but at the same time, it was a lot of fun. We enjoyed our youth.
You said struggles.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
I grew up within the inner city of Atlanta, so through the Section 8 program, the public housing programs, things like that. We moved around a lot.
How did that affect your childhood? Moving around a lot.
My roots were very broad. So I was able to put down roots in multiple communities. But ultimately, I would say I can be very disconnected. So as a child, I learned to disconnect and detach easily. So.
You have any kids?
Mm-hmm.
How many?
2.
Are they raised the way that you were raised?
Yes and no. There are some things, some values that I was raised with that I have worked to instill in them. But no, there's a lot of different things that I have not done. I have moved around a lot personally. So that's something they've experienced. But as far as the way I communicate, that's a big difference from the way I was raised.
How do you feel parents are today versus the parents that raised you? Or the parents that were around
The parents from the 80s.
Sure.
A lot of our parents didn't communicate well with us. It was more so, don't do this because I said so. Don't do this is wrong, without necessarily breaking down the full explanation as to why something is considered right, wrong, good, bad. For me, when I'm with raising my kids and even coming in contact with any child, I try and make sure I explain my perspective and the reason I will say something, get their feedback, and make sure that it's understood. Like there has to be some sort of common ground, some common form of communication between myself and my kids. So I would say the biggest difference would be the communication. Our parents didn't tell us anything growing up. Don't do this because I said so. Don't go here because I said so. Stay out of the cuts. Don't move here. Don't bring anybody home. Those types of things. So.
What do you see as a common problem with kids today?
I think our kids are exposed to so much now in comparison to what we were exposed to. And some kids don't necessarily have the proper outlets, whether it be an activity, a form of art to release, or someone to talk to. Like that sense of home, being able to be comfortable to explain themselves and ask for help, and the kids just don't have that nowadays. They do, but it's not always known and easily accessible. So I would think that's one of the biggest problems. So in exchange, they turn to violence or not necessarily the most healthy psychological outlets, things like that.
Does it really take a community to raise a child?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, it does. Because, I mean, as parents, we don't really know, we don't know what we're doing. We know what we were raised, how we were raised. We know right from wrong from our life experiences and observing the world around us. And all we do is transfer that information to our children. But at the same time, a lot of times our children will not necessarily respond well coming from mom and dad. Sometimes you need aunt, uncle, sister, brother, cousin, friend to transfer that information to.
You go to church?
I have not been in a while. I used to go frequently, but I'm more spiritual now, not necessarily religious. I have adopted a lot of religions. So.
Do you feel like that's a better way to be spiritual, to get what you feel you need instead of going to get something that you feel you may not want?
It works for me. I don't necessarily, I won't say that it's the way to do it, but to each his own. What works for you works for you. There was a time where I needed to be in the church. There was a time where I needed to be in the choir. There was a time where I needed a circle of friends, and that was my church. Now my church is within me. I read, I meditate, I write, I dance, and that's my church.
You dance?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Dancing?
I've been dancing all my life.
Is this professional, school? Is this taught or is this
I
something
dance
self-taught?
professionally. I started out self-taught, then I went to school for it. I studied it. I don't dance professionally now. I work with artists on the side on occasion, but now it's a passion. I always circle back to the arts.
Anybody that we know that you've danced with?
Maybe, maybe not. I've worked with various artists.
Okay. You've been in the industry for a while.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that you've learned that you probably could pass on to a protege, someone up under you? Someone who's going through the industry, whether it be dance, whether it be music, whether it be whatever. What would you offer as a word of advice to someone looking to go through a stressful career?
Know the legalities behind it. Read. Make sure you understand what you're signing, if you're signing anything. Make sure deals are negotiated fully beforehand. Don't walk into something blindly. Continue to learn. There's always going to be somebody that knows more than you, and there's always going to be an opportunity to teach. We have to get back to the each one teach one. So, and keep your eyes open. Like growing up, we had the term, keep your head on the swivel. Keep your eyes open. Pay attention to what's happening around you at all times.
I want to skip the subject a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about a Confederate flag?
Okay. It's a symbol. It is a symbol that had a meaning a long time ago that is no longer appropriate today. So let that symbol stay in someone else's private space if that's what they want to do. That's just my personal opinion on it.
How do you feel about the Black Panther movement?
The Black Panther movement, it's never dead. It doesn't die. That's something that is. It's similar to education. The Black Panther movement was there to educate, protect, and serve the community. Those are things that we have to keep and hold strong to today. So when your children go out the door, they're learning at school, they come home, and it's your job to teach them about the real world from how they look and who they are. think that's what the purpose of the Black Panther movement was. I don't think it necessarily died. It went more so underground. But yeah.
How do you feel about the Million Women's March?
I don't know a lot about it, but anytime you can get a group of women, like-minded individuals together for a positive purpose, I'm all for it.
How did you feel about the Sandra Bland's death?
I don't trust it. You can't trust everything you read. It didn't have to happen.
What are your thoughts on guys who wear pants sagging below their waist?
What's the point? I mean, I get it if you're entertaining, but just to walk around every day, no, there's no point. There's no point.
What would you like to see more men do to get the attention of people who look down on them? What do you think men need to do for the ones that are lost, for the ones who are out here who feel showing money, cars, the things they think are material things? What is your view, outside looking in, that you think men could do better with?
Men need to learn how to be with themselves, just the same as a woman does. You need to know, and I would say this is human law. You need to be able to be comfortable with who you are. When you look in the mirror naked, you need to appreciate and be comfortable with what you see in the mirror. Although we put on makeup, you change your hair, you change your style of dress, things like that, you still have to be comfortable with what's in front of you. You don't need any of that to get what you deserve. Granted, the world is now ruled by commerce. It's money. Everything's money now. I get that. But at the same time, it's possible to have that and not be so loud. Like it's just not necessary. Growing up where I'm from, if you're flashy like that, you're asking for somebody. You're asking for trouble. It's just not necessary. Tone it down a little bit. If you're entertaining, I get it, because that's what the entertainment is. But at the same time, we need to take back control of that and change the way that is. It doesn't have to be that way. Get back to the art form behind it.
Let's talk about PeachRose Solutions. What is that?
So PeachRose Solutions is basically, it started out as a way for me to incorporate all of my interests. I'm a helper at heart. I like helping people. So I offer business solutions and business services to small business owners, contractors, dancers, different artists. And it's basically me and any other people I partner with, helping with branding. I prepare taxes. I offer staffing. I also have a work from home opportunity and a call center. So it's like everything in one. It's just an all around business solution. So if you're an attorney and you're looking for someone to man the phones for you, that can happen. If you need help preparing your business, getting your LLC or your corporation documents filed, your EIN, basically like a registered agent, I do all of that. If you need help with distribution of a product, my office is housed in a warehouse. I can help with that too. So It's a way for me to help and give back. So
did COVID affect you in any way?
It did. It slowed down income, but I found a way to pick things back up. There are things, being an entrepreneur and also a single parent, I'm not able to depend solely on my business all the time. I have to do things on the side. So my side jobs, my side contracts were slowed down because of COVID.
Do you feel people needed to have some type of hustle or some type of, like, how have you been getting by? You know, how have you been dealing with COVID? How do you feel people around you have been dealing with COVID?
Different ways. It all depends on the person and the lifestyle they lead. I didn't necessarily have to change my lifestyle drastically. The only thing I did really was take my business from home and put it in an office. Because the kids are home, the family's home, I was not able to consistently focus on my business, family in one house. I had to separate my business from the household. That was a big change for me. It also added a little more overhead for me. So I had to compensate that and focus more on e-commerce. I started an e-commerce business some years ago, but I didn't really focus on it. Now I've been focusing more on it. I think with other people, they probably face the same struggle. If you're a parent and you're used to going out and you're used to living your life separately and being out in the world, it's a big change having to come back to center. But for me, it wasn't that big of a change for me. I'm kind of a loner anyway, so it was an easy transition.
So Miss Rose, PeachRose Solutions, what's new for this year? Going into next year?
What's new this year is the registered agent services. $50. I manage your filing and paperwork. Make sure you're basically compliant for a full year. Your listed address can be out of the office. It protects a lot of business owners depending on the services that they offer. A lot of people want the security of not having their personal address or home address listed, and that works out for a lot of people. That and going full force with tax preparation and tax planning. Those will be probably the two biggest things rolling into next year.
All right. How can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at PeachRose Solutions with an S, and that's peach like the fruit, rose like the flower, solutions with an S. And I have a website, PeachRoseSolutions.com.
All right. You taking clients right now?
I'm always taking clients. Always.
Are you offering any specials?
Right now, I am offering for individuals looking for an extra source of income. I'm offering opportunities to work, call center work basically, sales, tech support, and other communication services. You would provide those to various businesses, and I would cover any startup costs outside of equipment.
All right. Well, look, I really appreciate you for coming on Just Swagg's TV The Block. It has definitely been a pleasure talking to you, just to find out things that you do. It's awesome. One more time, how can people follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at PeachRose Solutions. That's business. Of course, I always like personal people to follow me. I'm miss.peachrose on Instagram, and my website is peachrosesolutions.com.
Well, look, man, it's definitely been a pleasure. Thank you for coming through Just Swagg's TV The Block. And last words to anyone out there looking to make a change in their lives and scared to take that next step, scared to step out there.
You can't go anywhere living in fear. You have to release every fear you have, or at least have a shift in perspective when it comes to that fear. We got to get out of the fight or flight.
There it is, man. Miss PeachRose, thank you so much. Just Swagg's TV, The Block. It has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, it's Miss PeachRose. You can follow me on Instagram at miss.peachrose. That's miss.peachrose, or at PeachRose Solutions. My website is also peachrosesolutions.com. And I just had an awesome interview with Just Swagg TV on The Block. It was awesome. Check us out on YouTube.
Sweet as swag, 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 swag. Yeah. Just Swagg TV.